Hi everyone, the intention of this video is to explain why I chose the subject or the topic that I have for my TFE, Tensegrity, and I like to structure my explanation in a couple of steps. The first one will be that I love maths, I've always enjoyed them, I've been a bit of a nerd about them since a younger age, so I enjoy doing some calculations, some solving problems and stuff like that, especially by hand, which I'll explain later on as well. The second one is, after my experience during these years in university, I much rather prefer the subjects in which the subjective opinion or the teacher is not as important. I don't want anyone to take it bad way, but I want to know why I get a mark and why certain things happen. So objectivity is important to me. The third one, of course, is how it was presented to me, the typology in the subject of Estructuras del Proyecto, by the teacher that is now my tutor for this TFG, Antonio Macia, whom I'm really thankful for his patience, especially in these last couple of months in which I haven't been as consistent as I should have. And then the last one, I could say the last one, yeah, would be the fact that I can work hands-on and work in models by hand and not depend on computers and computer design as much as I would have to in others. I'm not great at many of those programs. I haven't had the chance to get to know them completely or as thoroughly as I should have for being able to properly explain all these situations. And I really love working with my hands, with saw, some wooden pieces, some wires, is what I've been doing for these models, what I did in the subject and what I'm doing here now in the TFG, and I really love that. And this typology allows me to translate the information that you get from the model much better than any other typology, at least the ones that I'm aware of. Since you don't have to deal with certain situations and you deal with others, it's one of the most, if not the most easily translatable, in the way that, for example, if you take the most well-known structure, at least here in Spain, in which you have just a slab of concrete, some pillars of concrete, if you were to do a 100 model of that, it won't be translatable into the reality because of the lengths, the distances, and the factor of the own weight. If you work with wires and this type of typology of structures with tensegrity, in which the main thing you do is work with equilibriums, that is completely, or not, maybe not completely, because you can do the same tiding or the same type of ropes, some certain frictions and stuff like that, but mainly it's translatable from the model to reality. So it's a very, for me it's easy because I love working with my hands and doing the models. It's an easier way to prove whether you're right or wrong or whether it will work or not. And yes, I said, if any of the Spanish speaking has heard it in Spanish and is hearing it now, there's an anecdote that I like to say. I tell it quite often, so people who have already heard it, sorry. I had a teacher in the second or third year that was complaining about my approach to certain projects, was the subject, and the complaints that they had about me was that I was too practical and pragmatic. I think that's a word in English. If not, please let me know and I'll try to translate it and find a proper way to say it. And that was their complaint, and for them that was the reason why I wasn't doing it properly. But to me that was the farthest thing from a complaint. To me that was one of the biggest or best ways to talk to me, at least regarding architecture. To me, maybe I left all my full-blown creativity and craziness in music when I studied that, and now to me architecture is more of a reality-based or concrete based on realities and based on feasible approaches. So to me that was one of the best compliments I could have ever received, and I will take that with me wherever I go, and I'll still try to approach everything with a practical and pragmatic eye in this TFG, and I'm hopefully in years to come, because it will mean that it went well here and I stuck to it. So sorry about the long video, but hope I made everything clear, and if not, as I said in the first video, please feel free to tell me and I will try to explain everything more thoroughly.